Hi, Charlie Thorburn here from Gundogs. We're doing our weekly waffle video. I'm afraid we didn't do one last week because as across the whole of the UK, the heavens opened and it was torrential rain. And also we had a team of 9 American clients over for a week of sort of lovely time in Scotland. A bit of stalking, a bit of shooting, a bit of dinner, a bit of meeting some dogs, just generally having a bit of a fun time. And it meant that I was rushing around like a crazy person, or even more like a crazy person than normal, just trying to keep them happy and make sure the week went well. So little Waffle got out with doing some training, but we didn't manage to do a video. So today we're gonna do a bit of hunting with Waffle. We're gonna show you about him quartering through the long grass, and we're gonna use the wind. We've got a nice breeze, kind of a bit more than a breeze, a bit of a wind coming from the west. We always hunt a young dog into the breeze. Okay, the reason is because naturally they will work sideways into a wind. So if they've got a wind coming like that, they want the wind coming across the front of their nose. They're working into it, then they come back and it's coming across the front of their nose again. And then as they get onto a smell, like a little snake, their slithers go from big ones to smaller, and they hone in on a smell. But while they're looking for that smell, they're going side to side, side to side. We call it quartering. Waffle doesn't really know how to do it, but naturally he will know how to do it, and we're going to encourage him with our body language, and we're going to show you how we do that. We're also going to use a tennis ball to encourage him to get his nose down if we feel we need to, but we'll talk about that as and when we do it. And we're also always got a tennis ball in our pocket because you never know. Anyway, we're going to crack on and do a little bit with Waffle. He's been sitting here nice and patiently. Patience, the most important thing any dog's got to learn, and the hardest thing for a cocker to learn is patience. So he's just been sitting here really, really good as gold for like 10 minutes, and he's going to have to do this for the rest of his life. Sometimes, you know, we're sitting chatting to someone, we need them to wait. Sometimes we're on a shoot, we have to wait. They just have to learn to wait. So doing this as part of your training exercise is so vital. Just stop, make the dog sit. You know, talk to someone. If you haven't got anyone to talk to because you're Billy no mates up on the hill, get your phone out, look at some YouTube videos by a famous gun dog trainer, answer some emails, whatever. But just having him sit there, you not interacting with him, you just ignoring him, and him just going, okay, he'll be here when he's ready, and if in the meantime, I'll just be patient. Good little man. So we're going to let him off, and we're going to start hunting. Come on then. Waffle's just had a little independent moment just now, so I'm actually going to have to go and get him. So we had a little moment there. I let Waffle off. I was too busy talking, and Waffle just started doing his own thing. So I had to go and catch him and bring him back. Now, pretty frustrating because he's never done that before. Okay, and he's just, you know, finding his feet, getting a bit confident. These things happen. So a little trick that I do sometimes, I showed someone the other day. What I'll do sometimes, I'll just leave the lead on. Go Waffle. Okay, and it just takes the edge off them. Waffle. So I show him the ball just to try and get him back focused on me. I've got a bit casual with him. I've got a bit confident, thinking, oh, it's Waffle, he's great. And he's being a bit naughty. So I use the ball just to get his focus, okay? Go on in. Now, he's a little bit sticky because he's seen the ball, but sometimes just letting them run with the lead on, it just takes the edge off them. So we use the turn whistle, we get him to turn. Waffle. Waffle. Here. Waffle, here. Good boy. Good boy. So just give him a little retrieve, again, just to get his enthusiasm back onto me. Go on in. Go on in. Good boy. No Waffle. Good boy. Come on. Go on, Waffle. Come on in. So what I'm showing him at the moment is that turn whistle is actually me turning, not him turning, okay? Come on in, Waffle. Come on, Waffle. Good boy. Waffle, come on. Come on, Waffle. Waffle, come on. Now, what's happening? Well, not a bloody lot, if I'm honest. So what do I do? I don't get annoyed because he's still, you know, he's still a young dog. And what I've got to do is I've got to think about it logically. I've got to think, why is Waffle not doing this? Why is he not doing this? Because he's just kind of decided he wants to do his own thing. And I've got to show him that's not acceptable. And the best way to do that is to go back and do some basics. So just some healing, some sitting, another retrieve, just something. Get him to do something for you so that he doesn't get away with thinking that him not focusing on you is acceptable. I'll give you a little example of this. I suggested to my son yesterday that if he cleaned out our van, then I would give him some money that he could put towards a helmet for a motorbike. And he looked at the van, he's like, oh, it's pretty dirty, Dad. And I'm like, yeah, and helmets are pretty expensive. And there was a bit of that kind of, oh, I can't be bothered. And I was like, well, I can't be bothered to get you a motorbike helmet. So it's pretty simple. You either do it and you earn your keep, or you don't. And Waffle basically has to do exactly the same. So he's having a little, oh, whatever, I can't be bothered. He's having a little rebellious stage. So we're just going to have him on the lead for a little bit. Waffle, heel. We're going to do some healing. Get him just to toe the line. Sit. Some sitting, heel. Make sure he's looking at me. Make sure that lead's nice and loose. Okay, now we're very much doing healing with Waffle in long grass, interesting places. We have a lot of pheasants kicking around here. So he's having to do all this, you know, in the new, in a exciting environment. Here. Okay, sit. But just by getting him to do something simple like that, getting him to look at me, heel, getting him to engage again with me, at least I'm getting him to do something, even if the quartering lesson was a complete disaster, and we have to look at doing that again with him tomorrow or another day. Now, it's harder for him to walk through this long grass at heel because he's trying to negotiate the path, but that doesn't, I don't care, basically. I'm like, no, you have to walk to heel, so I'm not accepting anything but that. Obviously, if I walk straight through the middle of a bramble bush or something, he's not going to be able to walk to heel after me. But within reason, you've got to just go. He's like, oh, I don't want to go through that bit of grass. I'm like, no, I don't care. You're a spaniel, because you'll go through that bit of grass quite happily when there's a pheasant in it, so please go through the bit of grass quite happily when I ask you to. Sit. Do a little sit and a stay with him. So we're just building up that distance. Always going back to him. Telling him he's a good boy. Sit. Heel. Head off at heel again. So I'm basically just regaining control of the situation that I lost control of. And the quicker you regain control, the less the dog remembers, and the quicker they revert back to being the nice little dog that we all know of as Waffle. Now, another thing we're working on now is we've allowed him to jump up with his retrieve. So he's got a really confident delivery. We're now starting to just try and encourage him to sit down with them. So I'm praising him, but I'm keeping him in that sit position because what he wants to do is put his feet up and jump up at me. And I feel like with Waffle, he's confident, he's happy, he's holding the tennis ball up. Those kind of days are passing. The days of him as a puppy, jumping up, putting his feet on my chest or on my tummy or on my thigh, yeah, that was great, but now we want to get a nice little sitting delivery from him. So that's what we're going to start working on. It's all just about encouraging the little things all the time. So every time he does a retrieve, I'm just thinking, how can we make this better without putting too much pressure on him? And then the next question is, do we let him off or do we not? It sort of depends on the situation. If you've got a controlled environment, which we have them here, but actually this isn't one of them. This is part of a much bigger field. It could all go really wrong. There are pheasants and stuff here. There are other dogs. Two of my team are out doing lessons with other people at the moment. So there's a lot of other things that he could interrupt. And I'm thinking, you know, he's being a real little monkey. He's been quite independent when he was off the lead. So probably I'm best not to let him off the lead, because if it keeps happening, he just thinks that's acceptable. So you can see, like, you know, the problems happen to us all. We all have these pitfalls, and if we didn't, then, you know, basically I wouldn't have a job. Because if they all just did it, and they did it without any complications or without any head knocking, then it would just be plain sailing, and it's not, okay? It's enjoyable, but it's a challenge, and you've just got to rise up to the challenge. I hope you've all learnt something. I'm not sure if Waffle has or not today, but I think I've learnt something, and what I've learnt is that Waffle maybe isn't the little golden boy, or little golden balls as we call him, as you know, as you all maybe think he is, and he's a little monkey. He's still a cockard in there. He's still a little monkey, and we've got to maybe, you know, work a bit harder with him. We'll see you all next time. Like and subscribe.